We're a minute late.
A minute late counts as long as we turn on the stream. Quite enigma.
Fashionably late.
How dare we be a minute late for a 2-hour cast?
I know, right?
All right.
For a
let's see
2-hour
how
Two
cast.
fucking hours. You guys better be paying me for this shit.
All right,
You
we're
last
online.
as long as you like.
We'll bribe you with
5,
booze later.
4, 3, 2, 1. And welcome to the Barcast, where the bar gets lower every single week. This week we have your bartenders for this evening. We have Enigmatic Otaku.
I told a good joke here that they're all gonna deny.
Fire Orfer.
Good.
Gross. Milk.
I'm afraid of everybody now.
Ravage.
Right.
And we've lost our non-pencil for this evening. If you find her, please call 911 because we're worried she may be drunk. This week we have a very special guest. You may know him from the ancient days of the fandom where there were just all of the funny fics, and he has like 90% of. We have the wonderful Dubs Rewatcher.
Listen, I don't know who any of these fucking people are. So if you're out there, call for help, because I'm being held here against my will.
No one can hear you scream. For those.
No, priest. It's no one can hear you meme.
Shut up, Enigma.
Yeah, but Flutter Priest, I am very flattered by those blatant lies you just broadcast.
Well, that's what I'm here to do. Lie and make people feel good. Also, don't actually call an ambulance. Pencil. So, for those who are tuning in for the very first time, welcome to the Barcast. We are a user-submitted podcast where we take guests that you recommend to us. We ask them to politely come on, and then we ask the same questions that you want us to ask them. So we make them miserable for 2 hours. It's great. We also, in addition, have a drinking word. Milk, what is our drink?
I don't think we chose one yet.
The drinking
God.
word is Anytime we say
What
drink.
wasn't it? Wasn't it whenever Equestria Girls is mentioned?
No.
Oh yeah,
Wait,
question
what?
girls. No, it's totally it. Milk, why are you so bad at this?
You know what? I spent a whole day in the sun and they gave me lots of beer. The fact that I managed to drive home today is kind of a miracle.
Did I do a good?
No?
Whatever gave you that option, that idea?
Oh, I just.
Dude,
In addition, we're also watching the Twitch stream for any questions that you guys have there. So if you have any questions, feel free to post them live and we'll ask. So, on to actual interview-based questions. As rude if we didn't. Dubs, go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you and what have you done before for the fandom?
well, first of all, I want to say you got to remember that Milk's avatar is like a goddamn pigeon, so you got to be amazed that he can even remember his own name. But anyway, about myself. Hi, I'm Dubs Rewatcher. I've been in the fandom for over 6 years now, writing fan fiction that entire time. I am an Equestria Daily pre-reader, Royal Canterlot Library featured author, Radolph Association gold medalist. I've written a lot of stories, some of which are good, a large majority of which are lacking, and I'm very glad to be here.
Yes.
Wonderful. And we actually have our very first question from chat. First question from the chat is from a non-pencil. Question. Dubs, what does your penis look like? Also, follow-up, don't actually answer that.
Oh, I was going to answer. I got my answer.
Oh, go for it.
I was going to say depressingly average.
Or it could be averagely depressing.
Special for Equestria Daily Month, we have kind of two follow-up questions. The first one is, how did you get into fandom?
Oh god, this is so basically, so I was a freshman in high school, right when 2011 came around and like everything hit. At the same time, I was also a frequent poster on 4chan. I was on the /co/ board, which is, as you know, where everything got started. And I remember as the fandom sort of started, I sort of saw here and there little bits of it coming out, kind of coming to my attention. I remember the one very vivid memory I have was seeing a talkback thread after Griffin the Brush Off aired, and knowing like my little knowledge about what the show was and being like a stupid 14-year-old, I saw the title Griffin the Brush Off, and I assumed it was about a competition to see who could best brush a griffin. So as you can see, the show didn't really appeal to me at first. But then it was about, I guess, probably June or May 2011, and I was in my school's anime club with my friend Emmanuel, when a dude who we knew named Sam walked up to us. He had his laptop open. He put it down on the table that we were at and said, "Hey, I need you guys to watch something." So we put in the headphones, we pressed play, and of course, it was episode 14, Suited for Success. And he made us watch the entire thing. And Emmanuel had no idea what it was. I had some small idea. And so we watched the entire thing. And then I went home and I was like, wasn't that weird? And then I realized I was on YouTube and I was looking up the theme song. And then a few minutes later, I was looking up Art of the Dress. And then a month later, it was like 3 a.m. and I was reading fan fiction on my computer. And it's all been downhill from there.
Awesome. And for a follow-up question, special for Equestria, how did you get in Equestria Daily?
How did I get into Equestria Daily? Well, when the fandom first started, Equestria Daily was like the site. You really couldn't take 2 steps without bumping into like something that had been posted on Equestria Daily or something that was going to be posted on Equestria Daily. So I obviously knew about it right from the beginning. The first time I ever actually had any real contact with anyone on Equestria Daily was 2014 when I contacted Pascalite, who some people may know. Pascalite is probably one of the longest running pre-readers, and he has a thing where he won't publish a story until it gets posted on Equestria Daily so that he can sort of like cross-promote it. And so I had asked him at the time, how do you do that? Like, what's the trick to doing that? And he answered me, and that was the first time I ever talked to him. So then I started and then that was about the time that I got into the Write-Off Association. And lo and behold, lots of Write-Off Association members are people who were also Equestria Daily pre-readers. There was sort of a crossover there. So I got to becoming friends with a lot of the pre-readers, especially Pascalite. And then I guess it would have been about 2 years ago now. Pascalite had been sort of helping me on and off with my stories, helping me edit, helping me get them on the site. And then he made me an offer and he said, we are always looking for new pre-readers. So if you want to be one, tell me, and we can send you this test. You can see like, how do you review stories? How do you do this? How do you do this? And we can see whether or not you want to become a pre-reader. And so I said, that would be really cool. Maybe not right now. Let me start school and see how busy I am, and then we'll check it out. Of course, then I started college and everything was horrendously busy and I never got back to it. But then a year later, when I went to Baltimore for the first time, I actually stayed at Pascalite's house. And while I was there, he basically made me the offer again. He said, we really think you would be a good fit. I've seen your work. I think you're really good for this. And so the day after I came back from BronyCon, I said, okay, let's do this. And he made me a pre-reader. And it's been about 1 year and 2 months now since I became a pre-reader.
Awesome.
Nice.
So, next question. What is your favorite part of the fandom? Do you say it's the online community, fanfics, the cons, the music?
Yeah, so I was actually talking about this with someone when I was in Baltimore, I guess back in August. So, BronyCon has an average attendance of like 7,000. And then if you go to Quill and Sofas, which is the writer's lounge, at most there's only ever like 50 people in there. So I had this realization. I was thinking to myself, what the hell are these people here for? Because I've been so insulated into the writing part of the fandom. I just have no idea what's going on. I went to the Whose Line Is It Anyway thing, which has like all the YouTube personalities, and I had no idea who they were. And yet you had like 10,000 people there, like chanting their catchphrases along with them. And I was saying to myself, what the hell is going on here? So, I mean, really the only thing I can answer is writing, just because that's been the part of the fandom I've been in for 6 years now. I made one PMV once, but I never got into that side of the fandom. It's always been writing for me. It's just been ride or die writing.
Totally fair. If there's one thing you could say to followers, your fans, or even your haters, what would it be?
I'm hot as hell. But let's say, I mean, I think they already know that. So, I mean, I guess I really do appreciate all my fans and followers. Like I really hate my yeah, as Anon Pencil just said to me, I am very modest too. Like I'm very down on my writing, like especially my prose. I hate my prose, and I always go back to my writing, and I'm like, oh god, what do people see in this? But I mean, apparently people like it, and like people in the fandom, people outside the fandom too. Since I do some like original fiction writing, so I really do appreciate all of them. In terms of haters, I've only ever gotten hate mail twice, and neither time it was for my writing; it was for other stuff. So in terms of haters, I mean, I think I'd probably just go back to point one. I'm hot as hell.
All right, and now it's time for the most difficult question of this podcast. Prepare yourself. We're gonna get political.
Oh boy.
Who is best pony?
Yeah, I saw that coming from a fucking mile away. God, I mean, I answered this in the Royal Canterlot Library interview, and my answer was, it's kind of a cop-out, but both of my answers aren't actually ponies. Number one has to be Human Twilight. Like I guess 2 years ago, she and Sunset were sort of dueling for number one, but now it's got to be Human Twilight. She's the only character in the however many years the show has been running, 6 or 7 years, that I actually related with it in any level. I think she's freaking adorable. She like Equestria Girls in general makes me happy as hell, but Human Twilight makes me even happier than hell. So I got to answer Human Twilight.
Man,
should we take a shot right there? He mentioned it.
Oh God, right.
That's just like 3 or 4 shots. So
give me a second. I got to chug. Oh yeah.
So
what else you got for me?
All right. I had to. All right. So now we're gonna get ready to jump into the questions that the viewers are dying for your answer. So first of all, taking one directly from Twitch, David Silver from Pony Funder asks, "Hello, are you a spontaneous / discovery writer, as in you just kind of figure out what you're writing as you go, or a planned writer, in that everything you make super rigid and exactly happen? Point B."
First of all, David Silver, I'm sorry. I think I rejected a fic of yours from Equestria Daily like a year ago, so I'm sorry about that. But now to answer your question, I actually had a conversation the other day with Novel Idea. If any of you know who that is, and I made some comment where someone said something like, "Oh, I'm just trying discovery writing," and I said, "What the hell is discovery writing?" And Novel Idea said to me, "You're kidding, right?" And I said, "Nope, never even heard of that." And I think that sort of says everything. I am not a discovery writer at all. Like if I try and write something like just on the fly, I get really frozen up. I need to have like a really good outline. Like if you look, I'm writing a story right now for the current write-off contest this weekend. And my outline is 1,000 words. It's outlined every single scene. A lot of dialogue is outlined out. I really need that if I write, because I get so hung up on my prose, like I do not have time to get hung up on my plot too.
Fair enough. All right. So now we're going to jump to some of the questions that are out in the thread. And our first question comes from that other guy who is back to including his screaming anthology. Hold on.
Am I going to hear screaming? What's going on here?
I'm finally out of the hospital! I'm also halfway through my novel. I'm thinking of publishing or posting on Fanfiction to make profit. How much do you guys make from your stories? I'm guessing thousands of dollars.
Well, first of all, other guy, good luck on your novel. I'm glad that the people are working. In terms of money I've made, the most money I've ever made from any single thing was I made $500 off of writing a children's book. That was a cool assignment. There was a dude, so it's actually story time about this. I got hired by a dude in Australia, and he interviewed me for the job. And I don't remember anything about the interview except for the last question, which was, have you ever had an experience that you can classify as paranormal?
Jesus.
And I had no idea what he meant. And so I said, I asked him for clarification. He said, well, have you ever confronted something that you could possibly say was a ghost? And I had no idea how to answer this. because I was like, oh God, is he trying to test if I'm crazy? Is he trying to test if I'm as crazy as him? What's going on here? So I finally answered, I've had many experiences that I can say I don't know the answer to, but I'm not entirely sure I can chalk it up to being a ghost. And then his answer was, I understand. And well, in any case, he gave me the job, so I guess I answered right. So I got $500 from him for writing a children's book. I used to do commissions on my alternate account. The most I ever made off of that was probably, I think I made $120 in one story. My rate at the time was $8 per 1,000 words. And I actually did quite a few commissions, which was nice. But at the same time, I write so slowly that it's like not a good way for me to make a living. But it was a nice sort of just supplement to my income at the time when I was trying to get through the second year of college.
Totally cool. How do you find jobs, just kind of like a follow-up question, how do you find jobs related to like writing children's books where like people are just looking for writing and things like that? Or is there like an audition process? How do you find a job like that?
The way I found it is there's a website called Upwork, which is a freelancing website, UPWORK. And so you can basically search anything there. Basically, you can search any sort of job. And so the two kind of jobs I was searching were writing and editing. And so, you search it up, you get a big list of people who are looking for workers. There was a dude who was asking, he wanted a children's book written for his niece. So I contacted him and he hired me. In terms of other stuff, I mean, getting writing jobs, I'm afraid I don't have much experience in like the actual professional, writing job world, unfortunately. I think a lot of it is just sort of, they always say whenever I read any of these, tips on how to get jobs, like apply to jobs, like even if you're not sure you're qualified, because like the worst you get is you waste a little bit of money, like if they have like an application fee. But I'd say, sort of be confident in your writing, be confident in your skills, apply in places you think are good for you.
Totally fair. I think a lot of people are interested in that sort of segue of taking from pony writing to actual writing. So that's good information to have. Final question from that other guy is, what is the worst ship you can come up with?
Oh God, worst ship. Worst ship. I got to think about like what do we mean by worst here? Do I mean like worst as in it would make me like recoil in fear, or worst as in aesthetics, or worst as in like moral implications? But one half of it has got to be twist, because I don't like twist. And then the other half, I don't know, twist in a speeding bus.
Oh my God! I approve. Please write this.
I wrote Sunset in a speeding bus once. Didn't end up well for her.
Oh, I could totally see it. I mean, she just probably got railed anyway.
Is the bus gonna explode once it reaches 55 miles per hour?
It's
yeah.
It's not 55, is it? Oh, sorry. I was thinking Back to the Future. Never mind.
Nah.
Different reference. Okay. References. All right. Now we're going to questions from Two Mare, who starts by saying, "Whoop." To Dudley's Washer. Number one. What is the most fucked up thing you've masturbated to?
Oh God. I can't answer this question, or else like I would get like awful looks from like God.
That's totally fair.
And that is why we're here.
You could just leave, you could just say pass.
Yeah, I'm pass. I'm pleading the fifth on this one.
All right. Question number 2. Oh, Jesus Christ. What have you done to me? This is so long. All right. Hold on. I'm going to try and get this first time. What the fuck is wrong with you? How could anyone get off to the idea of tying a little filly down and licking her tiny body all over, nibbling her neck, and kissing her adorable little nipples? Only a heartless monster would think about her cute, girlish mouth and tongue wrapped around a thick cock slick with her saliva, pumping it in and out of her muzzle until it erupts, and then coming more down her little throat can swallow. The idea of thick, viscous semen overflowing and dribbling down her chin onto her fuzzy chest and tiny hooves, scooping it all up and watching her suck up every last drop is just horrible. You're a sick pervert thinking about spreading her thought soft thighs, cock poised at the interest of her pure, tight, virginal pussy. I'm disgusted that you would even get more excited as you lean over her, listening to her quickening breath, her girlish moans and gasps while you hasten your strokes, her sweet, panting, warm moist on your face, and her chest rising and falling rapidly to meet yours. It is truly nasty how you would run your hands all over her tiny body while you violate her, feeling her nipples hardening as you pinch them between your fingers while you kiss her neck, savoring the scent of her fur and sweat as she trembles from the stimulation and reaches her climax, hearing her cry out softly as she has her first orgasm while your cock is buried impossibly deep inside her, pulsating violently as an intense amount of hot cum spurts forth and floods through her freshly deflowered pussy for the first time, filling her womb only to spill out of her sickening squelch. You are truly a degenerate piece of scum.
Did Twist write that?
Yes. Okay, moving on. Number 3. Number 3. On a completely unrelated note, who's best Philly?
Who's best Philly? I used to have a thing with my friend Mokhtar when we used to watch the early series. Whenever we saw Scootaloo, there was 2 jokes we would make about her. One was that her voice sounded like Trunks from Dragon Ball Z, and the other one was that her wings were too small to actually be wings, so they must have been tumors. So we used to call her Tumor Trunks. So she's always had sort of a soft spot in my mind. And actually, to be fair, I've used the word Scootaloo as a password in lots of different places. But if I had to think about, actually, I do have an answer for this. Best Philly has got to be Plaid Stripes from Saturday Review. Because when she gave that line "bingo," I swear to God, I was quoting that for like a week, out of context. I would just type in all caps "bingo."
All right. Number 4. What story are you most proud of / enjoyed writing the most?
I'd say the story I'm most proud of, I go back to it a lot and I think about, because I really do like it, is I have a story called The Nightmare I Need, which is a 3-chapter sort of dark romance story, human twilight / sunset. And that took me about a year to write. Well, actually, the first draft took me a day to write, and then it took me a year to edit it into the state it's in now. And I still have a few issues with it. I think the beginning isn't great. Like the very first scene, I think isn't great. But on the whole, I'd say that is probably the one I'm the most proud of. I think I really got Sunset and Twilight's chemistry down. I think that the story is clever. I think that it's funny in places that it should be funny. I think I got the characterization really great. So yeah, I'd say probably that story.
All right. And then number 5, favorite and least favorite ships.
Favorite ship has got to be Sunset X Human Twilight. And then least favorite? Oh God. What is my? It's got to be a common one, like everyone ships. Least favorite. It's weird because like I don't like get like, I know a lot of people who like get like straight up angry at ships. Like they'll see a ship and they're like, oh my God, I hate this, and they'll downvote it. I've never really been that kind of person. So in terms of least favorite ship, I think that the only one I'm going to say right here, I guess Vinyl X Octavia, I think is cliched. Like even when in early fandom, I see why people ship it, and I think a lot of Vinyl X Octavia stuff is cool. But at the same time, like I always wrote them as just either friends or I had one fic where I wrote them as cousins, because I thought that was a much more interesting relationship than shipping them.
That makes sense. And actually, cousins seems actually a lot more believable, to be completely honest.
They're kissing cousins.
Oh God.
Wow.
But I mean, I thought it was cool because when I wrote them as cousins, there was sort of like a family rivalry between them, aside from the fact that they are so different as characters.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just like, oh, yeah, there's my cousin who went off to do this retarded music. And then, yeah, it starts a rivalry like that. Yeah, no, that actually would make for a good story, to be completely honest, yeah.
I tried writing that story for about like a year and a half, and it just never came out.
You you quit after a year and a half. God damn, I would feel so horrible after putting effort into a year and a half and then be like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this anymore.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, to be fair, I never actually wrote any of it. It was just like me like brainstorming for like a year and a half and like writing down ideas.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was hard because like I had so many ideas for it.
All right. Now questions for 1973 Emmy Award winning documentary 4 Stones for Kanamitsu. I'm guessing that's Flam.
Wait, fucking what?
What?
It
Wait,
it
what?
literally says 4 Stones for Kanamitsu, and I don't know who that's
Is
supposed
that,
to
is that the question or is that the username?
That's the person that they're trying to ask questions to. Like Full Mare's big Two Mare's thing is that he misspells and purposely messes up people's names, but I think this one took it a step too far because I have no idea.
1973 award-winning documentary 4 Stones for Yeah, I have no idea. Well, the first question is, who's your favorite story by Dudley? Wait, who the what?
Who is Dudley?
Who the fuck is Dudley?
I think Dudley is me because isn't that what someone else called me?
Dudley's Washer. No, yeah, it is. So I guess they're asking us what's our favorite story by Dubs, and I think my favorite, honestly, is "And the Kitchen Sink." I mean, it's a classic.
Of course it is. That's the only one. That's the only one anyone's fucking read.
It's a classic. Actually, like that story is one of the ones that brought me into fan fiction because I listened to it being read by Mike the Microphone, and I was like, I can do this. I can write funny things that people will read. People read me, please. But
well, that's nice to know.
So no, you are a major influence in the writing community, especially in the old days.
Aw, I never knew that. I always thought people just didn't even know my name. Like, remember when I went onto the question thread? Like, I was skimming it, and the one thing, because this is the kind of person I am, I was like skimming it, and the one thing that popped out to me is like the 4th post was like, I've never heard of this guy, and I was like, oh god.
It's weird because there are people in the writing area that are like infamous. Like for the longest time, people are like, "Oh yeah, I love My Little Dashie." Who wrote it? And then it's like, "Oh, so now we started this thing." And it's like whenever Rob's around, it's like, "Is that the guy who wrote My Little Dashie?" Yeah. And it's insane. And what sucks is that we did that at BronyCon, and 3 people like non-ironically went up to him and were like, you wrote My Little Dashie? It means so much to me." And he was just so mad. He was just so mad at us. Anyway.
So
the curse of success.
So I'm looking at your stories here, and I have one of your stories I have favorited, the attempted assassinations of Twilight Sparkle.
Oh, good.
And another one is Dinky versus the Moon.
Yeah, that one's cool. I wrote that for a write. Actually, I wrote both of those for a write-off. So yeah, I'm glad that people like them. Dinky versus the Moon. I was stressing out over like right when the write-off ended, because I remember I was just like, oh god, none of this is funny. How do I make this funny? I was like, oh god. But thankfully, it seems that people like it, which is nice.
I think I remember going up against the assassinations of Twilight Sparkle when I wrote Permission to Land in the write-off. I didn't do very well, but I know you did well.
What do you know? What round that was? Because it was under because that fic attempted assassinations was under a different name when it was in the write-off.
I honestly don't know, but I remember seeing it get posted on Fanfiction, and I remember reading it when it was actually in the write-off. And I was coming off the high of getting the silver medal the week before, beaten by Lise, and I was like, "Oh yeah, no, we can do good." And then I got smashed.
I love Lise. You know that I met Lise in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lise is like my favorite person. So if he's watching this, I don't actually know if he is. If he is, you're cool.
Lise is watching right now. Lise actually helps out with the cast from time to time. So, moving on to number 2 from Mara, the final question. Thoughts on Game of Thrones season 7? It's really good. Don't spoil things for people.
Unfortunately, I hate to burst your bubble. I actually do not watch Game of Thrones.
Thank you.
I've seen half of the first episode. But I watched half of the first episode with my sister, and then my mom banned it from the house. This was despite the fact that I think I was 19 at the time, and my sister was like 31.
Wait,
Jesus.
But she
Was
banned
this-
it from the house, and and besides the fact, like, I've never been a big fantasy, despite the fact that I am into the show, which has magic and dragons and all that. I've never been a big fantasy guy, so I really don't have any interest in seeing it.
Did your mother ban it because of the incest, and she didn't want you and your sister having ideas?
I don't think we were at risk for that, but I do think that the incest was a big part of it.
Moving on. Questions from Tony Montana. Number 1, what is your funniest story?
What is my funniest story? The answer I always give for this is I have a story called How the Half-Naked Santa Saved Christmas. It was a story I wrote as a present for Majin Sikyo, because we were doing that, was it like the Jingleness Secret Santa project that Wanderer D set up? I think it was Wanderer D.
I thought it was Obsolescence.
It might have been Obsolescence. Yeah, I think it was. And so I was doing that, and so that was a story I wrote for Majin. And that story I think is very, very funny. But at the same time, it's one of those cases where I wrote it 2 years ago, and so now I reread it and I find all these problems. Like, oh God, if I were to write this again, I would do this different. I would do this different. But if I had to answer my funniest story, I would say that, or I would answer attempted assassinations of Twilight Sparkle, since people apparently found that one very funny, despite the fact that the ending sucks.
All right. Number 2, what is the worst dub that you have ever rewatched?
The worst dub I've ever rewatched. I guess I don't really rewatch a lot of dubs, so it'd have to be just the worst dub I've ever seen in general. The worst, man. It's unfortunate because, like, when I watch anime, I tend to watch it in the Japanese, so I don't really watch. I think that a lot of the Dragon Ball Z early dubs were very bad. I had a friend who was obsessed with Dragon Ball Z for a while, so I know a lot about it. What else is there? Dragon Ball Z. A lot of the Sailor Moon dubs are pretty bad. A lot of the I guess like the name Dubs Rewatcher doesn't come from anime, unfortunately. That's something that some people know, and some people don't. It actually comes from 4chan. So unfortunately, I don't watch a lot of dubs, so I'm not sure I can really adequately answer this question aside from Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon.
It would be more accurate to rename you Dubs Checkum.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. Number 3. Please explain why fanfiction will always be better than Equestria Daily.
Well, I guess it depends on what you mean by better. FIM fiction definitely has a lot more. Actually, I guess they're for two different things. I mean, FIM fiction is a lot more stories, and technically it has more good stories than Equestria Daily does, just because there's a lot of good stories that never get submitted. Equestria Daily, we like to keep it, what we think is the best stories. We try to keep up the standard of quality. And then, of course, there's all the other fandom stuff. And then, of course, there's Seth being Seth.
Of course.
Can I tell a story about Seth and his most recent scheme?
Please give us more dirt on Seth.
I love schemes so much.
Yeah. So if you've never talked to Seth, he's a nice guy, but he's also extremely eccentric. And one of his sort of defining qualities is that seems like every month or so he has a different scheme or a different plan for how he's gonna change his life. Like one month he was like, okay, I'm gonna start a marijuana farm. The next month he was like, okay, I'm gonna start making plushies and selling them for $200 a pop. And so Seth's most recent plan is something he saw on Reddit, which is now he's going around to car dealerships and he's signing up for all their newsletters, so they send him free Amazon gift cards.
What?
Oh,
so he's making I don't know how much money he's making, but it seems to be enough that he thinks it's worth it. But yeah, he signs up for these newsletters and they send him free Amazon gift cards as a way of convincing him to buy a car. Okay. And he's never going to buy a car. So he's just getting these Amazon gift cards. And then occasionally they'll do these things you can go down to the dealership and they have an all-you-can-eat buffet around there. So it's an open house. And so he'll do those too.
I was so sure you're going to say that he started a business where he sells pot in the plushies.
Oh my God! We need to suggest this to him. We need to
Dude.
If things go well, we'll have Seth in 3 weeks, and we'll have to ask him about how wish games have happened.
Yeah.
Can I order three? Can I order 3 tree hugger plushies from him?
But it would be like the whole Lyra thing, so that you stick your hand up the back, but instead of a fleshlight, there's just a huge bag of weed just right in there.
At BronyCon, I saw one of those plushies. Someone had them in quills and sofas, and they were.
I saw it too.
In the compartment, they were storing a battery.
Yeah, the rechargeable battery.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Who was it?
It might have been Balloons. Was it Balloons?
No, it was Crunchy. Crunchy's a guy who hangs out with Rob a lot. It was Crunchy.
Okay.
He's got a video of himself on Derpy Brewer somewhere where he's got one of those e-cigarettes jammed in the back end of it, and he takes a shot off of it.
Christ.
Yeah, Crunchy's cool like that.
Every day we go further from God's light.
Or closer,
Alright.
depending on the type of god.
So, now a question for Priest. Am I a dove lover? I don't get the reference, and it's probably a reference to something I don't know. I'm sorry. There's
Doves are nice. That's all I have to say on the matter.
You're a Dove's rewasher.
The fuck you saying to me?
Moving on.
You want to fight
There's
me?
Dubs, you would beat the shit out of Enigma. Just saying. Like, Enigma is a twig. You would just pull up your hand. Like, I met both of you in real life. And Dubs would raise his hand to strike. And Enigma would just go like, eh.
My favorite part of this is in the middle of you talking him down. Enigma just muted.
I must warn you, Dubs. I'm a licensed white belt, the scariest color of all.
Oh, there is a question for Enigma, actually. If I told you that you weren't shit, how would you respond?
Really? For realsies?
Moving on.
Oh.
There's a question. Now there's questions from RK Stryker, JK5, who starts by asking Dubs, what's your favorite non-MLP franchise?
Oh, it's gotta be Pokemon. Pokemon is I've been watching and playing since I was a very little kid. I've played almost every single game. It's the only series that I've ever had any interest in writing for. It's the only fandom I've ever had any interest in writing for, aside from this one. So it's got to be that. In terms of also in terms of I know way more about it than I should, and I'm way more obsessed with it than I should be. I also love Tron. I wrote a 20-page paper on Tron as my final for high school.
Interesting.
And actually, the follow-up question was, have you written a fanfic for non-MLP franchises?
Nah. Occasionally I do wanna write one for Pokemon, because I do think I could write a good one. But I mean, yeah, no, I just don't have enough interest in it to actually do it. I've read a few Pokemon fanfics, but I've never written one, no.
All right. Now we have questions from Sunbro for Life, who says, number 1, what's your favorite video game?
This was actually one of the questions that I saw beforehand, so I was thinking about this. In terms of favorite video game, it's probably gonna be no, not even a tie. I'd say I have to give it to The World Ends With You for the Nintendo DS. That is probably my favorite game of all time. I think I like that more in every single way than any other game. After that, it would have to be one of the Legend of Zelda games, either Wind Waker or Breath of the Wild. Just came out this year, and I love.
Oh, I need to play Breath of the Wild so much.
It's
all right.
so damn good. It's so damn good.
You didn't say Golden Sun, so that was the incorrect answer.
Unfortunately, I have never played Golden Sun, so I can't say that.
It's fine. Fire Emblem's better. Moving on.
Oh.
Number 2, what is your favorite boss fight?
Favorite boss fight? Crap. This is actually this one I did not see, so I was not prepared for this one. Favorite boss fight? I love in both the Wind Waker and in Twilight Princess when you have the one sword duels with Ganondorf. Those are both awesome. In The World Ends With You, there are some cool boss fights that are also annoying as hell, just because all the villains in that game are really charismatic, really well designed. So it's always cool to fight them because you actually like feel like you want to kick their ass. I'd say in terms of boss fights, those are probably the ones that are the most memorable to me. Either sword fights in Zelda, or probably fighting Katanji in The World Ends With You.
All right. And then number 3. Have you accepted Skeletor, the master of the universe, into your heart?
Yes, I have.
All right.
You know, I think like all my roommates are here, like in the house, and I'm pretty sure they can like hear me screaming.
This is good. This is a good day. All right. Number 4. You are in the Small Horse Shire, and what kind of business do you open?
I'm in the Small Horse Shire. What kind of business do I open? Can I start my own professional wrestling promotion in Ponyville?
Probably, yeah.
Hell yeah, I'd do that.
Why is it that I'm imagining that you're wrestling horses?
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's just you wrestling horses, not horses wrestling each other.
So when I get to the Small Horse Shire to open my store, am I a human, or have I transformed into a small horse to match?
I think that's up to the opinion, that that's up to discretion. But
Okay, well,
I just see this has to be a fanfic now. Like someone goes from human land to Equestria land and then decides, you know what, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open a wrestling thing. And the other ponies are just like, what why would we fight?
But and then he like barista bombs Rarity into the ground, and then everyone's just like, oh, cool.
Now we see why.
I've always wanted to do that to her.
And then someone grabs Twist and hits her with a pile driver.
Someone comes up with a chair, and just right behind Princess Twilight when she's trying to stop the commotion, she just gets decked in the head with the chair.
All the ponies have different names, even though they're masked, and it's pretty clear exactly who it is.
Didn't one of us talk about this? Like, if they were to become like luchadors, what would their names be?
There is
the Princess of Pain.
There is a comic featuring Shirley and one of the other ponies where they dress up fucking superhero spandex luchador, whatever you want to call it, and they fucking wrestle. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah, there is. I remember when that came out. I wanted to buy it, but I never got around to it. I actually am interested.
Oh, it is so worth reading. It is so worth reading.
Isn't it something like Cheerlead's cousin is a professional wrestler?
I don't remember. I gotta go back and read it again.
WWE Equestria. Anyway, moving on. Number 5. I need to know for a friend, how much root beer does it take to make everyone in the world a root beer float?
How much root beer does it take to make one root beer float?
Well, we'll say it's in a general glass like you get at a diner, right? And usually the diner gives you 2 scoops of ice cream per root beer float, and usually between half or we'll just say for ease that you get a whole 8-ounce can of root beer for the treat. So if we assume only one float per person, you multiply that by the current population of the Earth.
Yeah, but I would also round it up. So like say the current population is at like 7.5 billion. I would round it up to like 8 billion root beers, because you want to have extras in case someone breaks their root beer before they can make the root beer float.
Right, but do we want to account for the variable of breakage? Because then that just makes things more complicated than it needs to be. But I'm all for that too.
No, it would be more in the preparation process. So you'd actually be looking at somewhere around 64 billion 4 ounces of root beer.
I'm just imagining Homer Simpson driving by and screaming, "Nerds!"
Moving on. Final question from some bro for life. Do you even praise, bro?
I don't play Dark Souls. I just know that's what this question is about. So I'm gonna say no.
Sunbro is so disappointed. Now we're moving on to questions from Patchwork Poltergeist, a previous.
Awesome, Patchwork Poltergeist.
Poltergeist was really fun when we had her on. Extremely wonderful guest. She has 3 questions for you, it looks like. Even some bad episodes have some good in them. What is the best thing about your least favorite episode in the show?
Before I went into this, Patrick Poltergeist, I believe, is the writer of The Silver Standard, which unfortunately I'm very far behind on. I'm sorry, but Silver Standard, when I was reading it, I said this on the site, what I think was the best, regularly updating story on the entire site. It's a fantastic story. If you haven't read Silver Standard, go read it. Now, to answer the question, I'm going to have to say, so my least favorite episode is A Friend Indeed, the one with Cranky and Pinky.
Okay.
But I will say that, that episode gave us Smile, 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 which is a fantastic song. So I'm going to have to say that least favorite episode, A Friend Indeed, but best part about it is the song.
It's kind of like, we know this episode's going to be garbage, so here's this.
No,
I don't know. My favorite part was the when she was on top of the flagpole. Any pony got a wig? This donkey's really, really bald.
I mean, like, at the same time, like, that's also really out of character for Pinky to be so inconsiderate.
My problem with the episode was just that, the entire time I just wanted Pinky to get decked in the face, because it was just like, what the hell are you doing, Pinky?
See, the entire episode could have been solved if you got a restraining order on her.
Yeah.
The court in My Little Pony? Psh. Anyway.
All I'm saying is I'm still waiting for Rainbow Dash to be arrested for eco-terrorism.
Oh yeah, that's right. That did
The
happen.
Weather Factory, yeah.
Was there ever I could have sworn there was a story where some investigative bureau shows up at her place and then actually questions her, or am I just imagining things?
But dude, there's a fixed fic for every single episode.
That's true. That makes sense.
Not getting into fixed fics, but next question. What's the last movie you saw, and was it good?
The last movie I saw was I saw the SpiderMan Homecoming twice because I loved it. I saw it once by myself, and then I walked out and I said, this is the best Marvel movie since they started the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I still believe that. And then a few months later, I went to go see it again with my nephews, and I loved it. I think I love that movie so much. I think it's funny. I think the story is great. I think Tom Holland was so much better than I was expecting him to be, especially in the climax. And then, of course, there is the revelation about who the villain is, which if you haven't seen the movie, I'm not going to say, but it's fantastic. That was the last movie I saw. I loved it.
You know what I loved about that movie though, and this is not a spoiler.
Oh.
They didn't have to kill off Uncle Ben again, because how many times does he have to die?
Yeah. I really was wondering how they were going to deal with that, but I think that while I wouldn't have minded seeing the origin story again, because I'm always a sucker for that sort of thing, I really think they did it in a good way, where they sort of just said, we know that you know what happened. We're not going to harp on it for too long. We'll mention it twice in very quick lines, so you know that we're not throwing it away. But you know this. Go see another movie if you want to see Uncle Ben get shot.
Sounds good to me.
He's selling rice in the afterlife now.
Yeah.
Final question from Patches. The CMC and Main 6 meet by the flagpole for an all-out melee brawl because reasons. Every pony is the same age, around 12-ish, no weapons, no outside help. Presume every pony has the same relationship they normally would in the show. Rarity, AJ, probably Pinky know each other. Rarity and Fluttershy know each other. Twilight's alone. Spike is busy being a useless baby. So who wins the fight?
What did it say about Pinky? Is she still on the rock farm, or is she does she know people yet?
At the age of 12, she had left to Ponyville. Okay. And I'm taking that from the cheese sandwich episode.
Oh, well, then if I think about this, I'm going to say it's probably going to be Applejack. Because if you think about it, the CMC, I don't think they would want to fight anyone because I don't think they would want to hurt their friends. But then you have to give it to one of the main 6. And of the main 6, I think Applejack is the strongest and the one who would fare best in a fight. Because Twilight, while she is powerful, I think she would be too shy to hurt anyone. Rarity wouldn't want to be involved. The only other one you can give it to is Rainbow Dash. And Rainbow Dash, while is athletic, I don't think she's strong in terms of like she can like punch you in the face and hurt you as much as Applejack can.
Right, she's nimble.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough.
I like it.
Now, question from Lieutenant Major Dude. Meme arrow, or implying arrow, whatever you want to call it.
Jesus.
If someone just turned into a brony, which one of your fics would you recommend?
People have asked me that before because they asked me, like, what is, out of all your stories, which is the one I should start on? What's a good answer for that? I gotta think about all my stories. I would say if someone just like got into the show, maybe Attempted Assassinations of Twilight Sparkle, just because you don't really need to know a lot for that. You need to know, all you need to know is, the most advanced thing you need to know about that is who Blue Blood is. And I'm going to assume that they know who he is, and if they don't, I think that the first scene sort of illuminates what his character is like. So I'm going to answer that.
All right. Number 2, a Kalila 97 story that you would recommend?
A what?
Killa 97 story.
Kalala. Kalala.
Yeah.
I have never read a story by Kalala. Oh wow, look at this. My dad is calling me right now. I'm not gonna answer that. I've never read a story by Kalala. I've seen her art lots of times, and my general opinion on her is that while she's very good at art, she is not great at writing. But in terms of like, if we're not talking about stories by her, but stories set in her universe, I'm going to be quite honest with you. I've never read a story written in her universe. I've only written one myself. So I'm going to be selfish and say read Where There Is Smoke, There Is No Fire, because that's the Kalala story that I've written.
Awesome.
I've written 2 Kalala stories.
I'm sorry, I haven't actually read any of them.
I'm sorry you had to write those stories.
Are there any other MLP artists that you personally like?
Artists in terms of visual artists, John Josico is the classic, or John Joseko, I guess you pronounce his name. He's the classic. I followed him since very early fandom. Mecha Sweet has a funny sort of humor behind him in that he writes, he draws stuff that's meant to be erotic, but he always sort of ruins it because in all his erotic pictures he has some sort of weird joke that just sort of like kills your boner.
Right.
Like the one where like it's a picture of Rainbow Dash naked, but she's wearing a sombrero and she's saying, haha, what the fuck is this? In terms of story writers, I guess, the most underrated writer in the entire fandom, I would say, is Quill Scratch, who is also my best friend. Unfortunately, he doesn't have too many stories up, but if you want to go find something by him, go read his story Last Kisses, because that story is a masterclass in being wonderful. There's him, there's Pascowite, obviously. I think Pascowite, aside from his stories being like technically flawless, he's probably the best like standard of quality I can think of. In terms of other people, let's see, who else would there be that I can think of? There's people that everyone knows. There's like Colton Gardez, there's Aragon, there's Majin Sikyo. But yeah, I'd say if I had to recommend one person that I don't think enough people know about, it would have to be Quill Scratch.
Cool. What would be your dream MLP episode?
Honestly, like we're honestly getting my dream MLP episodes right now, because my get ready for drinking. My dream is having like a slice of life, just like the regular series episode of Equestria Girls, and that's what we're getting right now. So honestly, we're getting my dream episode as we speak. The Dance Magic one, that one I thought was fantastic. That's everything I would ever want from an Equestria Girls series.
All right,
Sorry.
and because
right back.
because we like to make rivalries here, Coke or Pepsi?
I actually do not drink soda. I have never drunk soda in my entire life. However, people in my house, my family members drink Coke, so I think I'm going to have to go with that.
Is there a reason behind not drinking soda? It's quite unusual to hear something like that.
Yeah, I hate carbonation. It hurts my throat like hell.
Oh.
So like even like I just started drinking beer, and I remember the first time I had a beer, I was like, oh God, because I did not expect it to be carbonated. I had no idea. And so like I've gotten used to drinking beer now, but soda, like I'm good without it. I don't need it.
You gotta get you some scotch, man.
The first drink I ever had was well, the first legal drink I should say. I had wine and sake once when I was like 20. The first legal drink I ever had was rum, and that was actually I thought was pretty nasty at the time. But now I think about it, if I tried it again, I would probably like it a lot more.
Fair. All right, now we're going to questions from Alex _, who made you this really wonderful Dubs emoji.
Oh wow, I haven't actually seen it.
Here, I'm posting it in
Oh my God, look at that.
chat.
Oh, that's nice.
So what is your funniest anecdote? Just a story you would tell people at a bar to get a laugh.
Oh, actually, this is the other question that I saw, and this one is one I had to think about for a long time because I'm awful at telling like stories about my life because there's so much stuff that's like happened to me, and when someone puts me on the spot and says like, "What was this? What was this?" I never remembered until like a week afterwards. But so the story I'm going to talk about for this. So when I was a sophomore in college, I had a roommate named Chiquito. Now, Chiquito was a foreign exchange student from Japan. And so he was a perfectly fine guy, but we never really talked at all just because I'm a very shy guy, and also there was sort of a language barrier between us. But occasionally he would do stuff that would annoy me. Like he would like stay up really, really late when I was trying to sleep, and he would like watch stuff on his computer and laugh at it, or like he would get up at 6 in the morning to like Swiffer wet jet the floor. But the one story that I always remember was, so one day I woke up and I look at the door, and he's standing next to the door, like staring really intently at the doorknob. And like occasionally he would like reach up and just like twist it or like just like touch it. And he looked like he was like tweaking out on crack or something. And I had no idea what was going on here. So I stared at him for a while, and eventually I just like ignored him and just like went about my business. So later on, he gets his clothes on, he gets ready because he's going out to leave somewhere. So he goes to the door, he grabs the doorknob, and he rips it off the door. And it goes flying across the room, like bouncing along the ground. And I like stare at it as it's rolling across the ground. And like he's staring at it. And there's a moment of silence, and he just goes, oops. And he picks it up and he puts it on his desk and he leaves. So now there's just this big ass hole in our door that I have no idea what to do about. And so I get out of bed and I just start like looking at it, and it's like our fucking doorknob is missing. And it's gotten to a point now where if you close the door, you can't open it again because if you're from the outside, you can't open it again because there's no way to open it.
Oh my God.
And so I have no idea what to do. So I keep my door, I like prop my door open. I grab the doorknob and I go to my friends and I'm like, Shigeto ripped the fucking doorknob off our door. What the hell is going on here? And so like I go the entire day without a doorknob. And then finally at night, I think to myself, okay, I need to do something about this. So I call the front desk and I'm like, yeah, my doorknob fell off. And so they have to call like some repairman at 9 p.m. on a Saturday to drive over and fix my goddamn door. And guess what? He never mentioned it. I never mentioned it to Shigeto, and he never mentioned it to me. But when he came back, the door was fixed, and I hope he appreciates it because he ripped my fucking doorknob off.
Nice. All right. Number 2. What's the most fun you can have with a live chicken?
What's the most fun? Occasionally you see like those videos online of like a little kid teasing a chicken, and then the chicken just like squares up and just chases him for like a mile. And those are pretty fun. And otherwise, chicken nuggets from McDonald's are pretty fun when you eat them and you put them into your mouth and you digest them.
Hell yeah.
And then also, I mean, I'm sure there's, I mean, when you consider the shape of a chicken drumstick, I'm sure there's some fun that can be had with that. But yeah, I think a chicken is a very versatile tool.
Chickens are tools. Dubs Rewatcher 2017. Moving on. Number 3. What is literally the worst animal you could possibly find burrowing under your skin?
An anteater.
I
Why?
concur.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty distressing.
Anteaters are pretty damn big.
Yeah, they are.
There's
just-
like
You can't just like look down at your arm and be like, "Oh, I've got a anteater in my forearm."
Can you
Whoops.
imagine if you like, you know, like it was like the end of a long day, and you got home and you were settling down to have, you know, like in your bed to have a little bit of personal time, and you pull down your pants and there's just like a floppy ass anteater snout just like poking out of your dick.
the tongue is coming up the snout.
Yeah, and then you just you look down and you just see it go.
Yeah.
I'm dying right now. I just see this little anteater tongue just poking out your dick snout and just going, yep. Jesus.
I got all the crabs for you.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I would not want an anteater in my genital area.
You got it. Case made, case accepted. Moving on. All right, now we got a fuck, kill, marry situation. So the way it works, you have to fuck one, kill one, marry another. And of course, here on the Barcast, killing yourself is always an option instead of making any choice. Disclaimer, don't actually kill yourself. So you have to fuck, kill, marry a pig, a cow, and a horse.
Ooh, I'd say. Oh, first of all, you got to marry the cow because the cow gives you free milk.
Oh, hype!
In terms of fuck, I mean, thematically, I think it's got to be the horse. Oh, and then yeah, it has to be the horse because then you can kill the pig and get bacon.
Nailed it.
You know, that expression, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free?
Yeah, exactly. Just marry it, and then yeah.
All right, and then final question from Alex _ Sonic the Hedgehog is going to bore you. There's no question about that. But would you rather be anal-vored or cock-vored?
Ooh, anal.
Okay. Ooh, anal. Dubs 2017. Moving on. Dash Loon asks, if you could, would you?
Yes.
Awesome. Now it's time for a little role play. Actually, we mean what if scenario. You used to be Dubs Rewatcher, but then you find out you are some strange person known as Enigmatic Otaku. As the lonely being, what is it you do?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much of my hotness do I retain?
Literally 0.
Ooh. I guess I'd have to get a Otaku. Speak for 1 second. Just speak for like 5 seconds. Say whatever you want.
I was looking for a new car, which wins me a convertible or an SUV.
Okay, yeah, his voice is good enough. I'd have to get a job on radio so no one would have to look at my face.
Totally fair, because when you see a radio personality in real life, you're like, really? That? Oh, okay. All right. There's a question to me. Who is better, Milk or Enigma? Now to clarify, better being a strange fetish doer. Milk. Milk is objectively better in all the situations except for, I don't know, writing harmless stories. Like Enigma's better at writing harmless stories. Okay, moving on. Question for Pencil, and Pencil's not here, so moving on to Trickster Forrester, who has questions for Bud Rewatcher. What happens if you get scared half to death twice?
I would think that you would have to ascend. Just, you know, you sort of ascend into the next realm, become the living abomination that torments the universe, the scourge of our world, if you will.
Shit, that got real.
Yeah, that was very real.
All right. If the whole world's a stage, where does the audience sit?
On your lap, naked.
Whoa. This is some weird Santa shit. All right.
Fun fact. I'm actually working this Christmas as a mall Santa.
Sweet.
I was so sure you're gonna say I'm working this Christmas naked.
Well, I mean, the two might not be mutually exclusive.
See, that was what I was just pulling together, like as a mall Santa. And okay, moving on.
I remember one story on B that gave a hypothetical situation where the best way to kill yourself would be as a mall Santa, where before you go up, you take poison, and then you time it just right, where you say to all the little kids, "You've all been bad little kids this year. You've killed Santa Claus. Ho 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 ho!" And then you keep ho ho hoing until you die from the poison.
That's horrible.
I'm just realizing now that the people from Bloomingdale's are doing a background check on me right now. I sure hope they don't find this stream.
Man, moving on.
Bloomingdale's, you should hire this dude. He is amazing, and he won't kill himself on the job.
This is an ingest comedy podcast. Moving on. Why is the alphabet in the order that they are? Is it because it's a song?
No, because the alphabet came before the song did, so it would have to be. This is like a chicken and the egg question. You know, people always like chicken and the egg. People are always like, "Oh my God, what if, which one?" But the answer, I mean, we know the answer. It's got to be the egg because they evolved within the egg and then became the chicken.
Exactly.
So it's another case here. I mean, the alphabet came before the song, so don't try and trick me with your fucking philosophical bullshit, America.
Okay. If you write a book about failure and it doesn't sell, is it considered a success?
That's actually a good question.
Do you have enough money to buy dinner? Because if not, then no, it is a failure.
That's true.
Fair. If one synchronized swimmer drowns, do the rest have to as well?
Yeah, that's when you become a synchronized. Yeah, little known fact here: when you become a synchronized swimmer, they make you cut your thumb open and sign a blood oath. And it basically you sign an oath to your team. So you're essentially soul bound to 6 other people. And so if one of them dies, like not even in synchronized swimming, like if one of them dies in an accident, all of them drop dead immediately.
You got to really watch out for Gertrude. She's been in a bad place recently.
Yeah.
So do background checks on all your synchronized swimmers. Number 6. Is Disney World a people trap operated by a mouse?
I mean, is Disney a people trap operated by a mouse? I mean, it is a people trap, but I'm not sure it's operated by a mouse anymore. I think the mouse died a while ago. So I think it's a people trap operated by a snake. Because as we all know, the serpent of capitalism wraps around us all.
See, I was going to go in like the Donald Duck direction and then like monochromatic be it all over that.
Read softly and carry a big meme.
All right.
Thanks for that update.
Lastly, why is the word for a fear of long words? Oh, Jesus. Okay. Hippopotomonstros equipla.
The word. I know how to pronounce it. It's hippopotamonstrositoequipedilophilophobia.
Woo! Oh my God.
Rexicora phallopatoris.
Eat yourself.
Milk. Why don't you have Flutterpriest's job?
Because I like him to talk more. I like to be quiet.
Ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
Donde está la biblioteca?
Library.
Entuculo.
The library is down the street.
If I'm understanding correctly, the question is, why is the word for fear of long words so long?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because
somebody's an asshole.
I think that's a good answer. I was just going to say because fuck you, but I think that's a pretty good answer.
It's a great answer, honestly.
All right.
Sounds like something we would do.
Moving on to questions from Uwe Toll. Priest, did you do the Bum Bum? No, Bum Bum story comes out this week.
Is Uwe Toll related to Uwe Boll?
I think no. Maybe. Probably. He's probably under non-disclosure agreement.
Tell your cousin to stop making such shitty movies.
Right? Milk, how much did you not like Layers of Fear?
I actually genuinely enjoyed it. I just really hate jump scares, so I would never play it by myself.
All right. Now, Dubs, how cool is your cooler?
Actually, it's wow. My voice just turned British for like half a second. My cooler is damn cool. Like I just moved into a new house. And the freezer is holy shit. It's the best freezer I've ever had.
It's the best.
It literally is. You put something in there, it freezes in like 10 fucking seconds. The only problem though is that if you keep stuff in there for a long time, you pull it out and it's covered in ice. Like even like boxes and stuff. Like I have a box of waffles in there. I pull it out to get some waffles out, and the box is just like covered in ice that will melt as soon as you pull it out and just get wet everywhere.
It's more like your Egos. I don't know. That was a terrible joke. I'm sorry. Just ignore that.
When I was younger, in about 2004, we had moved into a new house, and we had this brand new updated fridge with like all this fucking cool technology and shit on it. And being the naive young teen that I was, I thought, the fridge looks like it's too hot, so I turned the temperature of the fridge down to 0. And then my parents came in and like, what the fuck is wrong with the fridge? They took out an egg and tried to crack it. It was solid inside and everything. And then I just pretended. They're like, oh, what? Who the hell turned the fridge down to 0? And I was like, fuck, I don't know. That's how I found it. And yeah, that's the story how I was stupid. So
yeah, the only other thing I have to say is Flutter Priest. I ended my statement and I got wet everywhere. There was so much you could have done with that.
Man, I've never claimed to be a comedy genius at all. On the list of like best writers on Fanfiction, I think I'm at the bottom. I'm not even close to witty. Actually, legitimate question: who in this chat room right here got affected by any of the storms that are going on right now in America?
Nope.
I'm like up near Canada, so
nope.
Yeah, not here either.
No, he has to just deal with the fact that he's a leaf. That's it.
Like a leaf on the wind. Watch as we die horribly. Moving on to the guests. Do you like Pugs the dogs?
I do. I like all kind of dogs. That's all I got to say. Continue.
Do you like to have pugs?
No. I do not want any pets because pets cost money and they cost time, and I do not have much of either.
And just remember, the smaller the pet, the larger the vet bill.
Oh God, yeah.
That is
Yeah.
true, isn't it?
Small dogs are walking vet bills. They can cost a couple $100 this month or a couple $1,000 next month.
It's true, but I still love my little Yugi.
Well, your dog ain't little, mate.
It's true. He could probably eat me if he wanted to. Don't take that out of context.
I think we already have.
Priest, put away the jar of peanut butter.
Moving on. Hugo loves peanut butter.
Nah,
Do you
he's using
know?
honey.
Do you know that in German, pugs as a dog means mopes, moips?
What?
I don't know. I don't know what the hell that means.
Which
Mipsa.
Oh, okay. Which is also a word for tits, not the birds, as in breasts.
I did not know that.
Oh, nice.
Really?
So
Okay.
then, follow-up question: do you like tits, Dubs?
Yes, I do.
Good.
Although to be fair, I'm more of an ass guy.
Totally fair, but that means you don't have to get the fuck out.
Like, I'm imagining that there's this German girl who's like jogging by one day, and then she just undoes her sweater and she pulls up her shirt, and instead of breasts, it's just 2 pug faces.
Shut up, Enigma!
Well, I mean, that's
sweater
already.
puppies. We get it, sweater puppies. Move on.
Well, I mean, that's already happened with fidget spinners, but I mean,
Oh yeah.
we haven't hit that
No,
level.
fidget spinners have caused the butterfly effect, and now we have all these hurricanes.
Have you seen the fidget spinner butt plugs?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Damn,
Yes.
fidget spinner butt plugs.
This is why we got hurricanes. Fuck you.
Yo, you just put one in. You sit down. You're spinning all over the place.
Yeah, these are a thing. Priest, I
You,
think
you tell your You stare back at your partner. Flick me.
Can you go into a lake and then do like a Dragon Ball Z scream, and then it acts like a motor, like on a boat?
Just go fuck up some crocodiles with your fidget spinner butt plug.
Priest, I kid you not. A few days ago, I was on the prawns, and I saw an advertisement, and it was fidget spinner prawns.
Jesus Christ! Also, Rav, your typing's coming through. It's really crazy loud. Moving on. Questions from Shakespeare, please. You've written several stories written in the Equestria Girls universe, a notoriously difficult genre in terms of popularity. What would you say are the keys to your success?
I'm not sure I would say that Equestria Girls is that difficult in terms of popularity. I mean, I guess definitely there are less people who like it than the original show. But I think it's become, quote unquote, mainstream enough now that, especially with people liking Sunset Shimmer, that even if you write something in Equestria Girls, it's not going to be too hard, especially if it's a good story. Really, I don't think I can say I have any sort of special secret. I have like certain things I do that I think set me apart. Like one of the things I do that I hate it when people write Equestria Girl stories and they use like real life brand names. Like, for example, like if someone like I'm currently judging the Sunset Shimmer shipping contest, and 2 different stories so far have mentioned Netflix, and I hate that. I hate it when people treat Equestria Girls world as like our real life world, because it's like you got people named Pinkie Pie, you got people named Twilight Sparkle. I'm gonna continue the rest of the made up horse puns. I sort of characterize Rainbow Dash a little bit differently when she's a human than she is when she's a small horse. I sort of make her a bit, I guess I would say a bit more obnoxious. Of course, this is sort of rambling now, getting away from the question. I think really just the answer to my question is I don't think I have a particular secret. The only secret I have is just I write good stories.
Man, really humble here. Moving on. What is your one true pairing? I bet it's Sunlight. It's Sunlight, isn't it?
Oh, hell yeah, it is. It was Sunlight back when Human Twilight wasn't even a thing. But as soon as Human Twilight came on the scene, like Princess Twilight can get the fuck out. I'm here for Human Twilight. That is my one true pairing. In terms of a one that people may not know, I also really something that I've been trying to write recently, I guess almost a year now, has been also in Equestria Girls, Fluttershy and Vinyl Scratch, which is something I think is really, really interesting. Another one I have in regular horse world is Fluttershy and Maud Pie, which I think is one that I've been wanting to write for a long time, but I've only ever done as like a small plot point as part of another story.
So for Sunlight, I see that you like to slather jelly over your bacon.
That took me like 3 seconds to get, and that was not worth the brain power that I spent trying to understand that.
Now you get it! Now you get why we beat up on Enigma! Like, oh my god!
Grace, I heard you say we peed up on Enigma. What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Well, you're basically a toilet. Anyway.
Enigma. I came up with a eulogy for you. Not the one I posted in the chat. I promise, if you ever die before I do, every time I go to visit Flam in California, I promise I will piss on your grave every day I'm there.
Oh god. Okay. So moving on. We only got 40 minutes and we're just a little over halfway through these questions, but I'm also going to take a very quick second to first of all advertise a little bit with the Barcast right now. Make Rarity Not Garbage contest. First prize is an actual Rarity plushie. I have it sitting here in my hand. She is soft and plushy and wonderful and just the complete piece of trash. So please make Rarity Not Garbage and we will send it to you.
Priest, does it have weed in it?
No, it does not. Also, in addition, we have a Patreon for the Barcast. It doesn't actually go to any of us, but we do take that money and use it to help actual horses on the Red Wings Horse Sanctuary in California. We are just $3 away from sponsoring an actual horse named Big Mac. We can take and sponsor.
I never knew that. That's fucking awesome.
And if we can sponsor this horse and send $50 a month to the Red Wings Horse Sanctuary, the horse is going to write us a letter, guys. And in April, we'll actually be able to go out to the horse sanctuary, Pencil and I, and we can do an actual interview with Big Mac, the real horse. So please,
Oh my god.
if you have a spare dollar, please go ahead and sponsor our Patreon so we can help real horses in real life. Moving on.
That's fucking awesome. I didn't know that.
It's what we try to do. We try to help real people. Anyway, or real ponies.
Real horses. Horses are fucking better than people.
Yeah. All right.
Well, meanwhile, if you don't give a shit about horses, go to paypal.me/dubsrewatcher and donate money to me.
Enigma, do you have anything to add?
We can attest that Dubs is in fact not a horse.
Well, according to the picture you made for this damn thing, I'm apparently Rainbow Dash.
You're the best Rainbow Dash.
Aww.
All right. How do you take your pony waifu? Pony, anthro, or human?
I mean, I think I have to say human, just because prepare to drink again. I mean, my quote unquote waifus would have to be the Equestria girls people. I mean, do you even classify them as humans? Because like they're purple.
They're a weird alien species. It's really confusing.
How do you tell your mother that you're dating a purple person? It's like, are the kids? She's gonna be like, are the kids gonna be purple too?
Oh God! You just reminded me of something.
Go
A
on.
really old song. He was a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater.
How did I know this is what you were gonna do? See, like most of the time when we have a question on this cast, like how do you take your pony waifu? Like the instant answer is in the mouth or in the behind. But no, we are not funny here. Moving on. Say something nice about your least favorite pony, Dubs.
Oh, at least I mean, I guess I had said before my least favorite pony would have to be Twist. I will say in Twist's defense, in one of the stories I'm writing right now, I actually I've written her for she's like a supporting character in the story, which is the first time she's ever been in a story. Actually, that's not true. The second time she's ever been in a story of mine, but the first time she's actually had like a real role. And so, despite the fact that she is still probably my least favorite character and the one that like I have a visceral reaction to whenever I see her, I'm starting to appreciate her a bit more. In that I think that she is sort of cool, I guess. That was hard to say.
Okay.
You're pulling muscles there that were never used.
All right. Now then, we have another fuck, Carrie, mill. Fuck, Carrie. Fuck, marry, kill. Jesus, why am I the announcer for this podcast?
I don't know.
Wow, thank you. Okay.
I'm kidding.
This time it's OC edition with Flufflepuff, Brownie Bun, and Snowdrop. That's some tough competition.
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
Well, I mean, I think I have to marry Brownie Bun. That's sort of like her role. That's like her cutie mark, isn't it? Like being a wife. So I think
But
What?
have you seen her wife though?
Have I seen Brownie Bun's wife?
No, her doing the activity of wifing. Have you seen?
Yeah,
her
because
wife?
that's what her whole goddamn blog. I mean, yeah, that's what her whole goddamn blog's about. It's about her either being a wife or eating peanut butter. So I think it's got to marry Brownie Bun. Fuck, kill. Kill Snowdrop. I mean, she met Luna. That was the highlight of her life. It's all downhill from here.
But if you fuck her, she'll never see it coming.
Oh,
God.
you are funny. You are a funny man, Priesty Pie. Why don't they give you your own stand-up comedy show?
Because I'm sad inside.
And then,
What comedian isn't?
then I think it's got to be Flufflepuff, and that's got to be an interesting experience.
Well, she's just gonna be like the whole time.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Ooh, I might have to.
I'd say
No,
the smarter choice was to marry Flufflepuff, because at least with her you'll get food of tacos and you'll probably starve with Brownie.
Nah, but the thing is, like, I don't like tacos that much, and like even a Brownie Bun, like even if she doesn't make me food, I can order food, can I? Like, or is it when I marry Brownie Bun, does it create a world where all takeout food is erased?
Well, no,
she uses
Doesn't
your
she
credit
burn
card
it?
to buy peanut butter.
Yeah, but hopefully I'll have a job.
Well, yeah, like the husband in that world does have a job, but also doesn't she just like burn everything she cooks?
I think so. Yeah, I think she burns everything she doesn't cook either.
Hell yeah, like oh shit, cereal. Damn it.
Yeah, she burns cereal.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be Mary Brownie Bun, kill Snowdrop, and fuck Fluffle Dick.
All right, and then last but not least from Shakespeare Cleese, on a world where shilling your story, death is optional. On the Barcast, suicide is always an option.
Death is optional is the story I wrote where I ship Sunset with the speeding bus, and then she gets buried in a pet cemetery.
Oh,
That's great.
That story currently has I think that's my most controversial story of all time. So I'm checking it right now. It currently has a rating of 675 up and 141 down.
Oh Lord.
People were not happy about that story when it came out. In the description, I have a whole bunch of quotes from people, and one of my favorite quote of all of them is from Mithril Moth, and the quote is, "This story isn't one goddamn bit funny. I don't know why it's getting upvoted."
Sounds like Mithril Moth to me.
Moving on, taking horse drama out of this conversation, because that is not something we do here. Posh has questions for you.
Oh, Posh, I love him.
Dubs, top 5 stories on Fanfic in your opinion, objectively speaking, and or just in your opinion, your personal top 5.
Oh geez, I have to go to my I have like my little top stories list. Unfortunately, it hasn't been updated in a long time. In terms of top stories, number 1 I think has got to be, I'd say it's probably going to be it's a classic, Heart of Gold, Feathers of Steel by Knick Knack. That one is fantastic. If you've never read that, read it. It does one of my favorite things, which is sort of a cop-out. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it retells an episode through another character's point of view. It retells Griffin the Brush Off through Gilda's point of view. Fantastic story. I already mentioned Last Kisses by Cool Scratch. That's another great one. There's a story that came out really recently. Oh God, what was it? It was about Celestia dying. She's dying from some sickness, and Sunset Simmer comes back to Equestria to basically pay her last rites to Celestia. That one was fantastic. Oh, there's a story that's not on FIM Fiction, but was for the write-off 2 years ago called Start Recursion by Hoof Biting Action Overload. That is one of the greatest fics ever written. Unfortunately, you can't find it anymore because he took it offline. But that was 750 words and one of the greatest stories I've ever read, fan fiction or not. And then lastly, I'm going to give it to another newer one. I don't know if this is exactly my favorite, but it's just coming to mind right now. It's Administrative Angel by Horizon. That was another story that was for the write-off that I thought was legendary when I first read it. And I think it's based on its rating on FIM Fiction right now. I think it hasn't lost anything in the small edits he made porting it over. So those are my 5 answers.
All right, and then last but not least from Posh, he wants your top 5 stories by the cutest and everyone's most favorite writer, Posh.
Let me think about that for 1 second. Well, I think, so let's do a countdown here. So number 5, I'd say would have to be The Long Arm of Murphy's Law. Number 4 would probably be Pony Gear Solid. Number 3 would be Equestria Gear Solid, The Definitive Experience. Number 2 would have to be The Eye That Floats Silent and Unblinking in Sunset Shimmer's Kitchen. And number 1 would have to be But It Often Rhymes, his newest story, which you should read if you haven't because it's very nice.
Yes.
All right.
Spoiler alert, I haven't actually read 3 out of the 5 of those stories.
All right, now we have questions from Rao the Red Sun.
Oh, Rao is my other favorite person.
Number 1, most influential piece of writing you've ever read in terms of how it colored your life and or your own writing. And maybe your wife.
Maybe my wife too. This one is hard because does it specify whether it has to be like written writing? Like, can it be like movies or TV too?
No, that is not specified.
Then I am actually going to say, this is going to be a weird answer. I'm going to say the Pokemon anime. Because when I was a little kid, this is something I actually still do to this day, is when I watch something or read something, in my mind, I'm like automatically crafting my own story using the characters. Like I'm sort of writing like my own pseudo fan fiction. That was something I was doing ever since I was like 4 years old. And the first series I ever did that with was the Pokemon anime. And so it took me, when I was like 12 years old, I had like this whole massive universe crafted for myself that was like a blend of characters from Pokemon and Zelda and yada, yada, yada. And that was like the moment I realized like I had like this whole big universe I had made. I was like, I want to be a writer because I wanted to be able to take something like this and actually like put it into reality.
Fair enough. Now you have questions from Professor Plum.
Okay.
Which has a question that says, DubsCon 2018, question mark?
I guess a story time here. DubsCon, so last year I lived in England for a while. And DubsCon, while I was over there, I held DubsCon, which was my own miniature pony convention. And Professor Plum was one of the people who attended, so that's why he's asking about it. And my answer to Professor Plum is, unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be a DubsCon 2018 because I am not living in England anymore. So unless you want to pay me the airfare to come over to London and back, and also my hotel fees, Plum, I am afraid that there is not going to be a DubsCon 2018 this year.
Sadness. Because Lise Eclair is up next at bat and has the very first question. When will you go back to Europe?
I mean, I want to go back to Europe. I really want to go back to Ireland more than anything, which is unfortunately pretty far away from Lise. But I will be back someday, Lise. And when I do, I know your satellite that you have floating around in orbit will go off, and it'll tell you when I'm there. And then we can go and we can hug and we can finally get married. We planned that like a year ago. And we never did it. So yeah, I'll come back to Europe. I'll come back to Europe someday. So please wait for me, Lise.
All right, number 2. What advice will you give to starting writers?
The advice, I mean, obviously the advice that everyone always gives is, read, which I do agree with. You got to keep reading. If you don't keep reading, then your prose becomes stale. That's something that I'm running into now. I'm not reading enough. And so I'm starting to hate my prose because I think it's like too static, too stale. In terms of other stuff, if you're I said this in my Really Can't Lot Library interview, and I said this on one of my BronyCon panels. If you're a young author, keep doing that shit. Like if you're like 13 years old, 14 years old writing fan fiction, keep going, because if you keep going, you're going to be fucking amazing when you grow up. So keep doing that. Try not to delete anything. This is something I learned when I was in like 8th grade. A teacher told me, and I've sort of obeyed it ever since, was I never delete anything I write. I always save it, because even if you can't use something at that moment, oftentimes you can go back to it and find like some scrap of it that you're like, yeah, I can reincorporate this into some other story, or I really like this. This teaches me something. So those are my 3 little pieces of advice.
All right. And then number 3 from Lise. What does it take to get published?
In real life, what it takes to get published. It takes a lot of editing, honestly. More than anything, it takes a lot of editing. Writing a story is like, I wouldn't even say half the battle. It's not even half the battle, because you got to write your first story, and then the large majority of your time before publishing is going to be taken workshopping that piece, editing it, until you get to a point where not only are you happy with it, but you think that other people will be happy with it. Because publishing, as much as we want to just publish everything, what we think is the perfect story, oftentimes that doesn't work. Oftentimes you have to publish what a publishing house would think is the quote unquote perfect story. So be patient with editing, because I know editing can be shitty as hell. I really hate editing myself, but unfortunately it's something you kind of just have to do. You got to be patient with editing. You got to be patient with yourself, and then send that shit out there. A story that's being held on your hard drive is never going to get published. You got to take the initiative to send it out someplace.
Honestly, that's really true. Especially like Like when I've sent pieces, non-pony work out to other different publishing houses, every publishing house is different. Some will think that your work isn't worth the time of day. Some will sit back and be like, all right, well, you have to change it this way. And they may suggest a lot of like technical alterations to make it more flowing like a technical paper or more like Hemingway, while others are like, you have to be almost like token-esque and you have to be more floral and flowy. It's different from place to place, and it's really kind of it's a trial every single time, and you can't get discouraged after one rejection letter.
Or at least if what you're actually asking, Lise, is how to get published on Equestria Daily, the answer there is just blow me.
Yeah. No way! You know, Dubs, what are you doing after this?
Yes.
I mean, I got Twilight Tries Not to Think up there, but I mean, I could totally go for broke with Parents Night Out. No, I'm kidding. Okay, moving on. Moving on. Random 284 now has questions. How and why did you start writing?
So I sort of answered this with my Pokemon anime question. I started writing fan fiction in my head from a very early age, and I actually do remember there was one when I was walking to middle school, and I had the realization like, hey, I should write this down because like, and I realized like this is what I sort of wanted to do. I wanted to write stuff. I wanted to publish stuff. I wanted to have other people read my thoughts, or read my creative thoughts at least. The first time I ever tried writing anything like that was when I was in freshman in high school. I tried writing one of those sort of like, quote unquote fan fiction mashups that I was thinking about. But then it was really, really bad. And so the first time I ever wrote pony fan fiction after that was that I guess would have been summer 2011. And that was the first time I tried that. And I never got any sort of really instruction on how to write in school or anything. So being in the fandom, I had to teach myself how to write. And now I'm here having taught myself how to write over the past 6 years, and hopefully I'm sort of good at it.
I'd say so. Number 2, which episode of MLP do you hate that most other people like, and which episode do you like that most people hate?
Well, I think a lot of people actually do like A Friend Indeed. What's another one? What's the episode where the Cutie Mark Crusaders are trying to become the mascots for the Equestria Games? What's the name of that episode?
It had the song "Hearts as Strong as Horses."
Yeah, that's another episode where that episode bored the shit out of me. And that's like when I think about my two least favorite episodes, it's A Friend Indeed and whatever that one was. So those are both episodes that I think people generally like, but I don't. In terms of episodes nobody likes, but I do, it's got to be Over a Barrel from season 1. I remember people hated that episode. Whenever I read reviews of that episode, people are like, "This is shit. This is shit. This is shit." I love that episode. That's like in my top 5 episodes from season 1.
I like that episode too, personally. And I'm really shocked how every time we do these interviews, like A Slice of Life almost never comes up.
Yeah.
Because I hated A Slice of Life like so much.
I honestly barely remember Slice of Life. I can't say. I think I liked it when I saw it, but I really do not even remember it.
Gummy is best character.
Yeah, that I remember.
All right. Number 3. In your opinion, which character is the worst and why? Other than Twist.
Other than Twist. Which character is the worst? Troubleshoes is the least attractive character. No, either Troubleshoes or Mr. Cake are the least attractive characters I can think of. Like I can get behind like a Soren or a Shining Armor, but like when I think of like Mr. Cake or Troubleshoes, there's something about them that's just like it gets me limp.
Ew.
Let's just go with taking I can get behind Soren or Shining Armor, Dubs Rewatcher 2017, and move on. That's what we should take away from this. Which character do you find the most relatable?
Oh, it's got to be Human Twilight Sparkle. Yeah, I think I'm not even sure I can like specify like why I find her so relatable. But there's just something about her that whenever I watch her, like I feel like, wow, I can feel this. And whenever I write about her, she always ends up becoming me. I mean, sometimes that's to good effect, sometimes that's to not so good effect. I just published a story called "Touch Me, Please Don't Touch Me," And the entire point of that story was that it was essentially like a self-insert story, but with Twilight as me. And while I think the story in general was pretty good, I know a lot of people were criticizing it because they said, this is way too close to you. Twilight doesn't have any agency here because she's basically you.
Why do I fear that if Twilight and her horse version were to exist, you'd kill both to make a Twilight suit, like Silence of the Lambs style? So you could become Twilight.
Because you assume the worst in everyone.
All right. Number 5. Serious question. Is there anything you dislike about the fandom?
Oh, yes, a lot of stuff.
Ah, yes. Here we go.
I mean, unfortunately, I'm not sure I can talk about a lot of it because a lot of it is very political. There's a lot of stuff within the fandom in terms of. I honestly, this is like a political landmine question. Yeah, so there's a lot of ways people act in the fandom, a lot of attitudes in the fandom about certain things that I really do detest. And then of course there's lots of people that I don't like either, but I don't need to mention that. So let's skip that question for now.
So I'll give you a rope to pull here. I think it's really fair to say that there's a lot of places in this fandom that are very subdivided. People stay in their own corners, and sometimes people in corners attack other corners, and that's not okay.
Well, I guess that one thing I can talk about is one thing I really don't like is how like dramatic some people get about episodes.
Right.
Like people arguing over, like I know someone, I'm not going to say the name, but they get like every time an episode comes out, they're complaining like, oh my god, there's so much drama here, I'm getting involved in so much drama, and like I don't see any of it. So my reaction is like, do you actually need to be involved in this drama, or are you like getting involved in it because you like complaining about it?
Ugh.
Anyway, let's go to the next question.
No, it's totally fair. Just we'll conclude that with everyone's welcome in the Barcast chat. We love everybody. Come join us unless you're mean. Don't do that. Number 6. Are there any writing mistakes or a lack of something or that you often see in first-person writing? And if so, is there any advice you'd give to make it better?
Ooh, I spoke about this at BronyCon. So actually, before I answer the question, I will say keep an eye on the BronyCon YouTube page because eventually they will upload our panels. So look at seeing through your character's eyes perspective in fiction if you want a really detailed answer to this. But
What did they? Sorry, no, I don't mean to interrupt you. Like I had 2 BronyCon panels, and now I'm really excited. Do they do that for all the panels, or
every panel that's not 21 and up?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna be on the BronyCon YouTube. Woo!
Oh shit!
Cool. No, go ahead. Do the talking now. Sorry.
So yeah, first-person writing. First-person writing is very, very close to the belt. It's very personal. So I mean, I'll just very basically, this is a tip that sort of goes for even third-person writing too, is writing something in first person where the character sounds nothing like what they would actually sound like speaking. Like, so for example, if you're writing like Apple Bloom and she's speaking like, she's walked right out of a physics textbook, or she's walking, or she's like Twilight Sparkle, and she's using like all these massive words and she's coming to these conclusions that a kid could not possibly come to. That's when first person starts becoming strained. Because first person, the whole point of it is that we're supposed to be seeing directly through a character's eyes. We're supposed to be seeing their thoughts, their thoughts, their judgments on the world. So if you're doing that and we're getting like something that doesn't sound anything like that character, then it's going to be jarring. It's going to take you out of the piece.
She was as tight as a jar of pickles.
Oh God.
What?
Just moving on. It's a reference to a fic that's on Fanfiction called The Tale Shadowblade. Moving on.
More like the greatest fic that's on the site, actually.
Now we have questions from Fenton.
Oh, Fenton, he's an awesome French fucker.
Number 1, what is the first and last book that left you speechless?
The first and last book, the first and last, so there was only one? I'm just going to say the last book that left me speechless. The last book that left me speechless would have been, this actually is a really hard one. The last book that left me speech. What are the books I've read recently? God, I have not read enough books recently. I would say the last book that really hit me hard was I read a book over the summer called The Best We Could Do, which is a graphic novel written by an artist named Tai Bui, I believe her name is, and it's an autobiography talking about her parents who were, well, I guess it would be a biography then, a biography about her parents who immigrated to the U.S. from Vietnam. And that's a really fantastic book. That was probably the last book that really hit me hard emotionally. So actually, if you ever see it in library or something, I'd say pick it out. It's the art is very rough, but it's a style that that I think some people can appreciate, and the story is very good. So I would say that.
Okay.
All right. And then the second question from Fenton is, how does it feel to be a fraud? And how does it feel to be hit by a bus?
How does it feel to be a fraud? It feels pretty damn good considering how hot I am. And then how does it feel to get hit by a bus? Bad at first, but then good because then you realize that you've just paid off all your student loans.
Jesus Christ.
That
See,
was
I
really
felt like that was a reference to like your sunset in a bus story.
No, I meant like you get hit by a bus, you can sue and get all the money.
Oh. Okay.
There you go.
All right. Now we
But
have
you
questions. Go ahead.
But you got hit by a short bus. Do you still sue?
That is offensive.
Otaku, Otaku, I want to love you, but you're making it very hard for me.
Okay. Now we have questions from For Bloody Summer. He starts by saying, "Yay! I like Dubs. He's good." Number 1. How sold are you on Adagio Dazzle and Pinkie Pie as a ship pairing?
Oh fuck yeah! I mean that story I mentioned earlier, my comedy fic, how the half naked Santa saved Christmas. That is Adagio / Pinkie. I think that they actually work together really well. The way I wrote that in the story is that like Pinkie was the only one who was willing to like really give trust Adagio. Everyone thought that wow, the whole premise of the story is that Adagio was trying to be good, failing in a lot of ways, and everyone is really mistrustful of her except for Pinkie Pie, who like trusts her completely. And the whole thing about the story is that was what Adagio needed. She needs someone to treat her like a normal person. She doesn't need someone to treat her like the former dictator. And aside from that, their hair matches perfectly.
Yeah,
so,
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm behind Adagio Pinkie. I completely forgot about that when I was talking about ships earlier.
All right. Let's see. Number 2. Which of your stories would be deemed least appropriate to be confirmed as canon for the show?
It's got to be Death is Optional then, because the premise of Death is Optional is that no humans can die. Even if humans try to die, they can't. Like at one point, Rainbow jumps off a building, like smacks into the pavement, and she's fine. And then Sunset is like half pony, so she gets hit by a bus and dies. So that I would have to say that one.
Okay.
Jesus.
And then last but not least, how many times do I need to hump the kitchen sink before it loves me back?
Ooh, the kitchen sink, he's a fucking sleazeball. You could hump him once and he would like start fucking you, but then of course he's not going to pay child support, so I don't know necessarily know that you want to hump him.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and you have to watch out just in case he doesn't, take care of his whole, garbage disposal situation down there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I have a lot of stories that have like really whenever I have a story that like someone is romancing like an inanimate object or something that they're not supposed to romance, the object that they're not supposed to romance is always really sleazy. Like I got the sink who is like a real asshole, and that's like that's the joke at the end of the fic. I have the stories on my alternate account about Sunset and Lone Star the horse, and the joke about that is that Lone Star is a complete asshole who's like a womanizer. Yeah, my characters do not have a good track record when it comes to these guys.
Jesus.
All right,
He's willing to have sex with everything in the kitchen sink.
Yeah, he is willing to have sex with himself. That is very true.
All right, we've got 10 minutes left, so we're going to try and punch through these last set of questions.
I'll keep it short.
now we have time for questions with Vylon. Pencil's not here, so it's time for questions with Vylon. Sorry. Will you finger Rainbow Dash's nose?
Yes.
All right. Brian
Gladly.
Fiction now has questions for you. What is your favorite song from the show and song from the fandom?
My favorite song from the show is easy. That is "Hope Shines Eternal" from that's the credit song in Legends of Everfree, the 4th Equestria Girls movie. That is the only song in the entire series to ever make me cry. I was very lucky at BronyCon. I was able to meet Daniel Ingram and compliment him on it and thank him for it. That is by far my favorite song. In terms of from the fandom, it's probably gonna be even to this day, it's gonna be Beyond Her Tomb, what the Carrot Top dubstep rap song.
Nice, good choice. Who's your favorite non-pony?
Who's my favorite non-pony? Ooh, I mean,
I guess Human Twilight Sparkle.
I'm not going to count humans for this. I'm just going to count like not like in Equestria non-ponies. Favorite. Spike is a cop-out answer, so I'm not going to answer him. I'm gonna say Gilda. I wish she would come back more. I like her.
All right. What is your opinion of changelings?
Changelings, they're kind of ugly as shit right now. But I'm not going to judge them on their appearance. If that's how they're happy being, then I'm fine with that. I'll let them live their life, but I would not invite one to a tea party.
Pharynx literally looks like the best new changeling right now. Like he has the best design right now, and I think that's actually really sad.
All right. What is your opinion of Spike?
Spike is cool. I don't write about him enough. There's a fic that either just fell out of the feature box or is in it right now called A Pup's Place.
Oh,
that is about that's about the dog Spike. And that one's really great. That's like a story that I've been wanting to write that someone else wrote, and they did it amazingly, like better than I could have. So yeah, Spike is really cool. I don't think he gets enough love from the fandom in general, and I don't think his episodes are as bad as people like to pretend they are.
We are really lucky that Pencil did not join us because, man, there was gonna be some fire that would go on right now.
There would be a tirade. Oh my god.
Dubs, must I remind you that Spike smelled his dirty feet?
What?
What?
What are you actually talking about?
Spike, the dragon, smelled his dirty feet.
Well, I'm sure lots of people smell their dirty feet, but I'm not going to judge them for it.
He put it on his to-do list.
Otaku, we have 7 minutes left. We got to get through this.
Okay, thank you. What is your opinion of the Barcast?
It's pretty cool so far. When Flutterface gave me like the disclaimer letter back in July, I was like, oh god, what is this going to be? But it's actually pretty cool.
Well, we never know what direction we go. Like last week, we had Crystal Wishes and Ansel on because they were really good friends, and we talked about her taco for 10 minutes. So
yeah.
I still can't believe that literally every time I'm not on fucking place, I have to go somewhere, y'all hang out with each other. It's god damn it. I need to make plans and then cancel them.
The only thing is, like, I have no, like, the entire time I've been doing this, I keep wondering to myself, oh god, am I doing this right? Because, like, I'm answering the question seriously. Like, I'm not making a lot of jokes. So I don't know if I'm
this is a
boring the
serious
shit
interview.
out of people.
This is a serious interview with shit posting on the side.
No, we're totally fine. Like, we haven't even talked about Thingpone yet, and why everyone needs to fuck Thingpone.
Why you need to dip your penis in that?
I dip my penis in a lot of stuff.
Paint?
Yes.
Good.
I'm like I'm the Jackson Pollock of penis painting.
Jesus Christ.
Next question. What is your opinion on Chris Moon, Chrysalis and Nightmare Moon?
Chrysalis and Nightmare Moon. That's fucking weird.
That's a new one.
I've never even heard of that. I mean, I don't think it would end well. Like I kind of feel like it would end with one or the other like biting the head off with the other one, like spider like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that would end well. But I mean, if they're happy doing it at the time, then all power to them.
And then last but not least, from Brian Fiction, would you recommend watching the show My Little Pony to those of us that don't but just read the fan fiction?
Oh yeah. If you've never seen it's just sort of weird. Like back in early fandom, when we only had 26 episodes, occasionally you get someone who'd be like, "Oh, I've only seen like half the episodes," and they would get like fucking chased out of the fandom. They were like, "You haven't seen all the episodes? Go watch them." But now we have so many people who like either don't watch the show completely, or like don't watch it anymore. I haven't seen lots of episodes. Like I haven't seen the last two and a half seasons, but I'm still writing. But I mean, I would say, yeah, if you have the time, watch it. Like if you need to, like if you don't have time to like watch everything, get like an episode guide so like people can tell you what the best episodes are. But I mean, I'd say definitely it's worth it. It's a great show, even 7 years later.
Mm.
Now we have a question from Glitch319. What is your favorite game? Actually, we covered that. Moving on. Chris Cyberphazon GOTDM has some questions. Number 1, would you thing pwn or predator pwn?
Ooh, thing pwn.
Good. All right. Number 2, what food pony and drink pony would you go on a double dinner date with?
Food pony, it's got to be pepperoni pizza pony. Because you know you got it's hot and it's melty.
Yeah.
Diggity.
And then drink pony. I would say, actually going back to a previous answer. I mean, I'm not a big fan of soda in general, but I'm gonna go with Coke pony.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I'd actually change that Pepsi, because Coke pony I feel like would be really really stuck up. So I'm gonna go with Pepsi pony. It's just as carbonated. But hopefully she would be a little bit like more modest.
Well, I mean, everyone would be a bigger fan of Mexican Coke pony, which is like virtually the same as normal Coke pony, but he wears a sombrero, bro.
Yeah.
So like, anyway. Number 3, what 2 items would you ponify that are currently in your house, apartment, room, wherever you are right now?
Would I ponify? Like, what do you mean, like turn into a phone? Oh God, yeah, because this is related to the last questions.
Yeah.
Oh man. What would I ponify? I looking around my room, all I see, there's a coat hanger. Maybe a coat hanger pony would be cool, I guess. And
You'll never believe where my head's been.
yeah, I got a good feeling. And then I have a box of Oreos that I just threw away because I just finished it. So box of Oreos pony.
So the box, not the Oreos themselves, the box.
So everyone like tries to get inside box of Oreo pony, and then there's nothing inside, so they're just disappointed.
Well, it's kind of like you know in Dark Souls how they have like the treasure chests that are actually monsters. It's sort of like that. Like someone opens him up. Actually, I think it would be, and they expect that Oreos, and then they just get bored.
No, or they just open up and find sewing equipment in it.
Jesus Christ.
I got that joke.
Yes.
All right. Not to skip the rest of your questions, Cyber, but those are the only pony-related ones, and we are short on time. So, now questions from Balloons3. For the discussion, what's an idea you've always wanted to write but haven't so far?
So I mentioned earlier I had the idea about Octavia and Vinyl being cousins, and it was about Vinyl coming to live with Octavia for the summer, because her mom sent her away. That's something I've always wanted to do. There's a fic I'm writing right now, which I've been wanting to write for the past 2 years, which is about it's the last day of school at Canterlot High, and it's about Sunset trying to confess her love to Principal Celestia before she graduates. That's the one that I'm writing right now. So that one's that. Other stories. Oh God, there is a clop fic that I've been wanting to write for 2 years about the Dazzlings and how basically Twilight goes to research the Dazzlings, and she finds out that sirens base social structure off the size of their penises.
Oh, God.
That is one I've been wanting to write for like 2 years because someone gave me that idea. I can't remember who it was, but I don't think it's ever going to get written anymore for various reasons. So those are my answers.
That's great.
Last but not least, the final question. We're getting super deep. From Mobile Sam, who we cannot thank enough for pushing us during this podcast over our $50 Patreon goal to sponsor a horse.
Fuck yeah.
We are now actually sponsoring a horse named Big Mac, and we will begin that at the end of the month.
Yes.
How do you feel about potatoes? How do you feel about potatoes?
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. They're all good.
I like your answer. It's literally like Mobile Sam asks that question almost every podcast, and that is the first time we've gotten that good reference.
Nice.
But that said, that is all the time that we have for this week. Dubs, thank you so much for coming on. We had a lot of fun. You brought a lot of really interesting, actual educational content to the table. This is actually like a episode that people can watch and learn something from.
Yeah, they can learn all about anal voring.
Well, I mean that too.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me on. It was an honor. This is the only. This is the only. I guess I've done one other podcast the entire time I've been in the fandom, and it was one that like no one ever watched. So I'm glad to have this one that like people are actually paying some attention to. It's very nice.
Of course. And then, of course, next week, since we're doing Equestria Daily Month, Milk, who do we have next week? You literally talk to them.
Is the ferret?
Ferret was gonna be last week, but she had to cancel it last minute. We're gonna try and pull her back sometime in November.
And who the fuck is it? Come on, Milk.
Damn it, man.
Milk, we're gonna kick your ass.
Check the chat. Alex just posted it.
Cassius.
Oh, Cassius. Okay, Cassius. If Cassius is watching this, fuck you.
Man, I love this deep friendship that all the Equestria Daily folks have. And then, of course, the week after that, we're going to try to get Pascal White. And then the week after that is the big man himself, Sethisto. So be sure to tune in next week and all the other weeks and whenever we do this all the time. And thank you for watching the Barcast. We have had Enigmatic Otaku.
Gotta go drain the old anteater.
Jesus Christ. Flammenwerfer. No.
I'm still disturbed by everybody here.
Ravage. And of course, the wonderful Dubs Rewatcher.
PayPal.me/DubsRewatcher.
My name's Sweater Priest, and I think I need to go drink some mind bleach. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Those ants.